Hi, welcome back to Chasing Tones Summer NAMM Edition. I'm Max.
I'm Anthony.
I'm Brian.
And Vaughn Skow.
See, I got this. He's got to edit it out. Anyways, Brian has all the questions. I'm just doing the intro. So,
and we're getting it
Brian.
in real time from Facebook, which is cool, right? So, well, first of all, before I get into questions, let's talk about Vaughn and
introduce yourself.
Stevie here.
Yeah. What do you do?
Stevie, tell us about what you're doing.
Well, my name's Anthony Stauffer, and I run a site called Texas Blues Alley. And I've been
called Stevie.
You might have known it as Stevie Snacks from 2007 to 2014, but it is now called Texas Blues Alley.
Is that hard to change your name?
How much time do we have? Is it we limited in our time here? Because no, it was a big change. I'm not gonna lie, but it's going well now, and you guys have been good in terms of wearing the shirts that I sent you.
Yeah, so I mean, you do demos and stuff online, like on YouTube.
Yeah, so my business is doing courses.
Right.
But as a gearhead, I do a thing called Tone Tuesday, and I do. I've done a fair amount of demos of your pedals. I've also done some amp stuff and pickup stuff as well. So.
And you teach blues licks?
Yeah, well, I'm one of those annoying guys who learned a lot of stuff from Stevie Ray Vaughan. So for the first 7 years, that's mostly what I focused on. But Texas Blues Alley is more about the Texas blues sound in a wider sense. So I do Freddie King, B.B. King, Johnny Winter, even did some Jimmy Vaughn a couple weeks ago.
So cool. That's cool.
Yeah. So that's enough about me.
Yeah, that's telling them. Just put the microphone down and walk away. Okay, Vaughn, and you make incredible pickups. You make incredible tube amps. Everybody should know who you are if they don't, but let's assume no one knows who you are. So tell us a little bit about yourself and why your pickups are great, why the stuff you're doing is I'd call it fairly groundbreaking and quite unique.
Yeah, well, cool, thanks. And you're right, nobody knows who I am. So
no, that's not true. That's not true.
But that's okay because we have a nice little life here. I like to call myself an adopted native Nashvilleian. I've been here for 30 years now. This is my chosen hometown. But when I fell off the turnip truck from Minnesota in 1985, my first deal is I spent a lot of time in Nashville as an engineer and a producer. Actually had studios in Nashville all through the mid 80s and the 90s. Was on the road with Axe as a guitar player and as a front of house engineer, the kind of the big touring acts of that time period. And the whole time, where my heart is really at is in fact guitar tone. I moved to Nashville thinking I was one hell of a guitar player, man. Because in rural Jackson, Minnesota, I was killing it, babe. In Nashville, you really learn where the bar is at, man, and it's like somewhere way up there. And so now I realistically consider myself a passable, club gigging guitar player, and let other people wear the mantle of the super pickers. But my deal has always been tone.
That's what you kind of always gravitate to? That's your focus? That's
where I'm at is guitar tone. That's why I've been a part of the Warehouse Guitar Speakers family now for almost since the beginning.
Right. And you do a lot of the blog, I know you used to write a lot of the blog stuff.
I write all still do all the blogs for Warehouse Guitar Speakers. I answer almost all of the Q&A questions on the forum because I've got, in my studio at home, I've got all the speakers set up. I have this fantastic collection of literally over 100 different amplifiers. People on the Warehouse Guitar Speaker forum always, they'll write in and they'll say something like, I've got this weird ass amp, what speaker will sound good with it? And when I go back and go, oh, well, actually, I really like, the whatever on that, they, everybody's like, do you really have all of those amps? Yes. And it's great because the speaker connection gives me an excuse. So every time I drag a new amp home, I tell my wife, hey, I've got a reason to have this.
It's a business expense.
People are going to ask about this amp, and I need to know what it really is. So that's been part of the deal. That's why I'm a fan of yours and what you got going on. We're all this tone chaser thing. And that led me back to, believe it or not, man, in 78, I made my first humbucking pickups for me and the bass player in my band at the time, a guy named Dave Ellefson, who went on to found Megadeth. And armed with, with like butcher tools practically. I hacked humbuckers into me and Dave Ellison's Stratocasters, right? I mean, that's where this whole thing started for me way back when I was 14 years old. And I've made pickups and done custom winds and pickups all those years since. It's only been in the last few years that I realized that there is a place for me to market my own, Vaughn Skow branded pickups. That's what I'm doing now.
Right. Cool. Very cool.
So you're probably wondering what I do. I drink too much. I sweat a lot.
You yawn
I
occasionally?
yawn occasionally. Yeah. I know little about guitar, and I eat Brian's food.
Yes, you do.
Take it away, Brian.
And you
What are we
use
talking
my
about
credit
today?
card.
And I do use his credit card. True, it has my name on it. That's
We
his
all
first mistake.
use your credit card.
So what's the coolest things you guys have seen in NAMM so far?
Definitely Wobbler pedals. I've been there the whole time.
I was gonna say.
I just can't get away from Wobbler
You should have phrased
pedals.
that question. What's the only thing that you've
Yeah.
seen since
Wobbler pedals. Oh, and the food truck. That's not very good though.
You guys have been walked around more than
Yeah,
we
so
have.
two of my favorite things so far. One of them was called the Gaff Gun, and it's you have to look it up. It's a tape roller thing that you load it with a roll of gaffer's tape, and it can take up to 7 mic cords that are laid out across the floor, and you push the little caddy roller across the floor. It gathers up the cables and lays down the gaffer's tape on top of it like magic. And then the other thing was called the guitar backbone or something like that. It's like an aluminum plate that goes on the back of a guitar to complete the resonance circle from the neck through the tremolo block or whatever. And I was a little skeptical when I first played it, but he's smart about this. He has 2 identical guitars, one with it and one without. Doesn't require any modifications other than taking off the bolt-on plate and putting this on instead. And it was like night and day difference. So I can't wait it's like $50 or something like that.
Can you feel it resonate without an amp?
Yeah, so when you can tell a difference playing the guitar without and with it without even plugging in.
Right.
I mean, it's like a completely different guitar. Now, how that translates to what it sounds like going through an amp, I don't know yet because it was too loud for me to hear.
Right.
But it's like, I think the most expensive one, which is for a telly and has different metal type inserts, is like $70 or something like that. So if it's as good as it felt, then that is a substantial upgrade for the money. So I can't wait to try it out. So those are 2 of the coolest things that I've seen so far.
What about you, Vaughn?
I'm an amp guy. and I also will be covering this for Vintage Guitar Magazine, and I can see the headline already. It's already like, Summer NAMM 2015, amps are big, especially when they're small. And that's what I see going on out here.
Right.
I'm a tube amp guy. I build tube amps. I worship at the altar of the flowing electrons. You know
Word
what I
on
mean?
the street is that you own a couple amps as well.
Yeah, I own a couple.
I've heard that.
But Quilter amps here, in their like stupidly lightweight Class D stuff is rocking my world so much that, as we were talking earlier, man, I think I'm going to have one. I mean, that's how much I'm excited about them.
Right.
And there's a few other amp companies here that have got some really cool stuff. Of course, like Fuchs, and that's really cool. Marshall's got some new stuff here that is so cool, man. It's got me salivating, because I am an amp guy. So I love the amps. There's some other more experimental stuff that I've looked at that, one, I forget what the transistors are, but it's some new transistor that like has just been developed. It's not a...
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that at all.
Oh, well, you'll have to check it.
Yeah, you have
it's
to,
one of
you
those.
have to point
it's
that
one of
to me.
those. This is first year, right,
Right.
for it. And so like the Quilter stuff, I remember when I first saw the Quilter stuff at NAMM like 4 years ago, I was like, I'm going to keep my eye on that.
Right.
Well, this is like that. It's kind of like, I'm going to keep my eye on that.
Have you noticed that there's been a lot more talk about Quilter stuff just in the past year or so? Because I don't remember.
Yeah.
I've heard about them a while.
Blowing up, yeah.
But it seems like over the past year, I've seen that name and people talking about it a lot more. I mean, maybe it's just that once you know about something, you start to notice it more.
I don't know if it's maybe the combination with Axe Effects getting more prominent, and then
Right.
the Quilter stuff and the Kemper stuff. Yeah, you know what I mean, like everything.
Yeah.
Well, Pat.
Max is like,
Well, for
I'm
what
not
it's worth-
yawning. I'm not.
sweating, my
I'm
glasses
not
are like-
going to
Hey,
yawn.
I'm trying to be serious here, guys.
We're on level 3M. I'm way overweight, and it's way hot because heat rises. It's physics.
Yeah.
It's not my fault. It's science that I'm so freaking sweaty right now. Right? Way to draw attention to it. Made me self-conscious.
So meanwhile, on
Introducing
the
the sweat cam.
What kind of a boss?
yes, on the topic of sweat, let's talk sweat. So anyway, the quilter stuff is cool, and Pat goes way back. He's been building amps literally longer than I've been alive, which he doesn't look that old, but and he started QS.
At least 30 years.
Yeah, at least 30.
Yeah.
He started QSC, the
that's
power
a
amp
great
company.
shopping network too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So so he's been around a long time. The other, for me, and I understand there's some interesting value here that we won't get into, but I loved talking to Hartley Peavy.
Yeah, that's right. You're talking about that. Yeah.
Because I had never met Hartley before. Knew his reputation and his whole deal, and he's a real country boy. He's
right.
a Southern. And he had all these great quotes that I love, like I don't want no goddamn yes men around me. I do what I want, and stuff like that. And I'm going, this is the real deal.
Right.
But then we started talking, tube designs and different models of tubes and biasing and capacitors and filter caps and all of that kind of stuff. And I realized, man, this guy is the real deal. And he told me he went to his first NAMM show in 1955.
Wow.
And I'm going,
That's before the internet.
That's before. That's before. Exactly. They had NAMM then. They had electric guitars.
That was before Vietnam.
That's the line. There's the best line yet, man.
Before Vietnam.
Yeah, the
Hartley.
Vietnam show.
Got our title.
But so that was really fun for me.
You said they have some new amps that they're.
PV also had this. They're like 6505 head. That's like the metal head that actually is pretty darn popular in the metal world.
Yep.
They've got the little like sort of lunchbox version of it. 25 watts with a pair of EL84s, scalable down to 1 watt. That's all the, I don't know if you've noticed, but man, that's all over the show now.
Right.
It's like as guys like us are getting a little older and PA systems are getting bigger and more capable, you're seeing less and less of the big heavy stuff and more of the little stuff. So they got this little miniature 6505. It's got all the bells and whistles, right? You can actually defeat the power amp section, use it as a preamp, plug headphones in, all of that kind of stuff. And they also have, and PV actually has their own little room here, so you can actually listen to the stuff, and it's not so loud. I listened to that a little bit, and it sounds great. They also have a little miniature, kind of lunchbox head version of the Classic 30 called the Classic 20. Also a pair of EL84s, voiced Tweedy. Yeah. I didn't get to listen to it. Here in Nashville, actually, the Classic 30s have a good rep. I mean, there's a lot of touring guitar players that play Classic 30s.
And it really is a great amp.
So,
it really is.
So I think that little, and the head's cute as heck. It's tweed. It's just the right size. So that kind of excited me as well. I mean, I looked at that and I said, especially in Nashville, I can see that being really popular.
Right. Well, cool. Yeah, I haven't seen much except from the door to the booth. I saw there was some mandolins. There's a coffee stand.
Yeah,
That's terrible
and
coffee.
some picks.
And a few good players too, here and there.
There was a guy, Gil,
Vince? Is it Vincent? Vincent Gill?
Vincent Gill?
I think so.
He was
Mr.
Vincent Price Gill.
Mr. Vince Gill, we love you.
Yeah, he can play.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about this gal Dominic Ruiz who just stopped by your booth.
Yep.
She's a new Nashville telly gal. She's been in town a couple of years. She's got a partner called and their duo is called Dixie Jade. They got a publishing deal. They've been opening up for major acts on big stages. And the word in Nashville is that that they're the next big thing. I've been in Nashville long enough to know that means very little, but I will say she's a cool gal, cool player, and it was great to hear her play a little bit more and get to know her a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. And Phil X actually came by.
I saw your picture.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
Phil X
awesome.
came by, and he's exactly what you see on camera.
Who was the
super cool guy?
The young
Daniel
country-
Donato.
Daniel Donato.
Daniel
If you
Donato.
guys haven't seen that clip of him playing, there was a clip circulating YouTube of Daniel Donato playing. I forget how long ago it was, but he's at some club and he's doing stuff on there. I mean, I don't know anything about country guitar other than that it looks impossible. But I've watched all of the Danny Gatton stuff that I can find. Everything. Just look for this. Probably the most viewed clip of Daniel Donato on YouTube, and it's unbelievable. So.
He's an unbelievable player.
Yeah.
So good, it makes me mad.
Scary good.
I hate those guys.
Yeah, I know.
Come on. Jeez.
So do you have topics that have people been asking questions?
I do. Let's see what they're asking.
Because I don't know much, but I'm good at making up answers
That's
on
a
the
big
spot.
phone you have.
Yeah, I'm overcompensating.
Clearly.
So, okay. Here's a question. What is the one pedal that you keep sneaking into your setup, even though like the traditional tone world scoffs at you? This is from a guy named Bat Dan Casey.
Interesting.
He said his is the Boss Mega Distortion.
I've got two.
Okay.
So this is a pedal that you'd be a little maybe embarrassed to admit that you love.
A little flat black spray paint. And
it stays on your board.
Right.
Yeah, I've got two. You ready?
Yep.
Okay, one, I'm a fan of the Digitech Bad Monkey.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
A lot of people love that pedal.
Looks terrible on your board. It's this ugly green color. It actually literally has a picture of a monkey on it.
Right.
But it's a great Tube Screamer overdrive, right?
Yep.
And around Nashville, they're at pawn shops for like $10 everywhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like literally you can throw them in your gig bag, and if they don't make it home, you just go, okay, I just gave somebody a Bad Monkey.
Right.
And the other one that I like, God, what is it? It's the Boss. I think it's called the ODS1, which is their DS1, and their overdrive and their distortion in one pedal. Again, it looks like those old.
It's a yellow one, right? Is it yellow?
Yes, it is. It's yellow. You're right.
Is it the one you can blend between the two?
You blend between the overdrive and the distortion. Again, they're stupidly available all over. They're cheap. They look just like all those old Boss pedals. Again, you kind of hate to have anyone see it on your pedal board, but it's a pretty cool pedal.
Right. What's yours?
I honestly, I have a lot of your pedals.
So basically
talking,
all of them.
We're talking the ones you don't want anyone to know about.
Oh, right. I forgot the question. No, honestly, being somebody who occasionally demos pedals, my collection is a little out of control, and being that whenever I'm playing, I'm usually doing it in the context of doing a lesson. So my board is not my board the way that it is for people who play out a lot, because I'm picking what I think works best for that lesson. So honestly, I have lost track of everything that I have. I think probably the least likely pedal that I've used that I loved was an older model Nobels ODR-S. And the ODR1 is nice, but it doesn't have the 3-band tone control. So when I started Stevie Snacks in 2007, the ODR-S, I had the green. No, there were two different models of it. And I forget which one I had, but I used that on a couple of demos, and it was it felt cheap, but it sounded good. And I think I got it for like $50 or something like that. So that's probably the cheapest, most unlikely pedal that I've used and loved.
We did a run of pedals called the Underdog.
Okay.
It's based off that circuit.
Yeah. It's a great circuit. I don't know why it's so hard to get a hold of their stuff.
And the Underdogs aren't being made anymore?
No,
Okay.
No, that was a pedal that, and this was back in 2008 or not, maybe 2010 or so. That,
we're rooting for it to make a comeback.
Well, I had a friend that had cancer, and
you got it.
She didn't have any insurance, couldn't afford to pay for her health care. So I'm like, you know what, let me just make this pedal, and all the money that we make from it, I'm just going to give directly to you. And we give it directly. We put it in a fund that went to the hospital. Yeah.
Wow.
So I think we did 200 of them maybe altogether, and didn't make a dime off it. I mean, it literally cost me money to do it.
And now they're rare collector's items.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the thing is, her cancer actually, they were able to contain it, and now she's free.
So you can now say, that's your new marketing slogan, Brian Wampler cures cancer.
So I want to have it anymore.
One pedal at a time, right?
We cannot
I want to have it anymore.
We cannot confirm or deny that, but legally we have to deny it. What about embarrassing pedals that you love?
I hate to admit it, I picked it up recently. It's the Dan Electro Chicken Salad Vibe.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, I found it $20, like it was like NOS, like, new old stock. Like some guy had it in a box. I had the original Dan Electro 9-volt battery in it.
We don't know this guy.
Oh, it's a mini one. Oh,
it's
yeah.
a mini one. So
it's like bright orange plastic.
The ones that suck your tone.
Oh yeah, but there's something about it that's just kind of cool. I want to get like recase and new bypass, but it's $20.
Like the chili dog.
Yeah, chili dog.
The chili dog.
Yeah.
I actually used to modify the not GoDaddies, the
that's a website.
Daddy-O, right?
Daddy-O.
Daddy-O, yeah.
And,
well, those are the real pedals. Yeah, that's stuff you're talking about. That's that little.
Yeah,
yeah, these are like
tiny. They were thin. They were tiny and thin before that was the fashionable thing to do.
Yeah, they're like super tiny. I got a tiny board and they're top mounted jacks, so everything just kind of It's great, yeah.
Yeah, there was a guy, and this is back in 2002 or 3, that was actually taking the guts out of those and rehousing them, and people were loving it.
Did he do something to where they didn't suck all the tone when they were off though?
Yeah, he true bypassed it.
Oh, okay. Because that's a problem with those little. They had those little miniature pedal boards, those little molded plastic pedal boards, and you put like 6 of them in a row, and with all of them off, you just run your guitar through it, and you go, hey, wait a minute, where'd my signal go?
Well, you know what's funny is that's actually how I first started thinking about buffers and like patch cables and everything. Is that I had about 8 of those mini Dan Electro pedals on my board, and I was like, I think I had gone from being plugged into my amp directly, and then I went and plugged in my pedal board, and I was like, I'm not a smart man, but something is different
Something
about
is definitely missing.
And that's when one by one, I started adding them back in. I was like, well, I guess now I got to get new pedals. But
we apologize to Dan Electro for any grief.
No, I
they
love
were great
you guys.
pedals, but whatever buffer was in them was terrible. So.
All right,
And you know what? And I got to say this too. On my gigging pedal board, I actually have one of those little Dan Electro pedals too. I forget what it's called. It's the one that's called a reverb. It's called like, but it's really just like bucket brigade delay.
Right.
And it's like instant, like Elvis Presley, Scotty Moore guitar tone in a box. You just hit it on, and it's like that's the one thing it does. So, little tone sucking. Hey, there you go.
Okay, here's one from Tim Neely. He says, okay, what's the best time of day that you guys like to practice? Do you notice your tone sounds better at night versus in the morning, for example? Is there a time of day that
It's all
just
it's
enjoy
temperature, pressure, humidity related. I like about 29.97 millibars of pressure in the atmosphere.
I use those rules for pooping.
Tone-wise or playing-wise?
both? So it's kind of a two-part
The
question.
blues cannot be played before 6 o'clock in the evening. It's not possible. It's isn't that true?
Must have been played
If
from
you
a-
play it before 6, it's the once. Not the
It's the happy.
But no, I never thought about that. I play when I'm in the mood, and when I'm not busy programming on Texas Blues Alley, which is surprisingly little.
Do you find that's at night? Do you find that's in the morning? I mean, is there a time that
I can't nail it down to a time of day, but I will say, they say that tube amps and that sort of and speakers are really sensitive to humidity and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys ever found this. Some days you plug into your rig, and it does not matter what you do, it sounds cold and sterile and brittle. And then literally the next day, if the weather is different, you can't find a bad setting. It's really frustrating.
After the front has went through, when the humidity's all cleared out. No, it does make. Well, think about it. Sound is a physical thing.
Right.
It's air molecules smacking into air molecules.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And it's a relative, so it's a physical force. Sound travels slow, right? It's like 650 miles per hour. That's not fast.
Right.
Right? And, and so as sound is traveling through this air, I mean, what those molecules really are, how much humidity in it makes an enormous difference.
So it's not even just the equipment, but your perception of what they're producing is affected by the humidity and stuff in the air.
Oh, it's enormous, and of course the speed of sound actually travels completely at different speeds based on. I also teach at Vol State, and I teach acoustics and studio design and that kind of stuff, and and I try to get my students hip to this whole concept. But what you're talking about is so true, man. I mean, the sound at like a live concert or a festival that's outside, when it's like a rainy day and all that, is so different than after the front is passed and the air's nice and dry and all of that. Plus, our bodies just love that anyway. So,
Right.
there you go. So the humidity thing is not just BS, man. There's some truth there. But I'll also say that sweet spot that I'm sure we've all been, after the families went to bed, and and it's 1 o'clock in the morning, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever, and you actually just grab a guitar that at that moment feels right. You plug into an amp that at that moment feels right.
Right.
And it's just, the lights are down, it's nobody but you.
Right.
Like I said, the family's all asleep. Man, that can be some beautiful time to play.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think another way to look at it is that in the evenings, I probably feel like playing. If I'm going to do like practice, I probably am not in the right mental state to do that at night. That's probably something I'd have to do earlier in the day.
Max?
a morning person, it's evil.
I just play to piss off my neighbors. I'm in a one-bedroom apartment in Bloomington, Indiana, so it's my neighbors get really mad, and I just crank that super reverb up. I just do it to be annoying.
So early morning or late night,
But, I mean, what is practice? I mean, does a lion stretch before he takes down a gazelle? No.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just good. No, that's false. I'm not really good. But
What do we
I
got
like to
next
pretend
here?
I am.
I got one more question, and we'll wrap this up.
Speak into your mic.
I got one more question, and this is one of them. What benefit does give? Hold on. Let me try to
Read it in English.
Mulligan.
Okay, what benefit will a person get by upgrading from 250K pots to 500K? And it doesn't say which guitar. So
Yeah, well, obviously the whole pot thing, upgrade is a weird word there.
Right.
Because that's just a change.
How about change?
Um,
How about if we change it?
Yeah, that's just a change. Now, I will say this. What benefit do you get, say, if you've got like, an Epiphone or a Mexican Fender or something what benefit do you get just from going from their stock pots to really good pots and a really good tone capacitor? You get a noticeable benefit there.
Yeah.
And the benefit, well, one thing, I have a lot of Nashville guitar players that come in and I replace their pickups in their guitar for them in my shop, and I always do, pots and tone caps at the same time.
Right.
Because, and it's really great, so I've got this big, plastic bag full of tone pots that have came out of guitars, right? And and you put them on the bench and you realize they're all over the place.
Oh man, yeah.
I mean because they're putting in these things that are sourced for like 7 cents or something like that, and the quality control isn't there. So getting a quality pot that the specs really are what they're supposed to be, and it's consistent across the pot, and they're lubricated well, they feel good year after year, that makes a huge difference. I think tone capacitors make a difference in a huge way too for one reason, and that is if they really are what they say they are.
Right.
In other words, I have done comparison tests between like $100, Holy Grail bumblebees, and 59-cent tone capacitors. You don't really hear a difference in the capacitor unless it's a cheap capacitor and the value's way off. And then it's enormous. And the caps and the pots are the two things that work together there, obviously. And when it comes to a tone pot, beyond the shadow of a doubt, 500 to 250, we ain't talking upgrade. That's just different.
Will they notice a brighter tone, or what are they going to notice when they change it?
Strats, as far as I'm concerned, and this is, this has been since like 1950 or whatever. This has been, single coil pickups definitely sound better with 250K pots. Okay. They will sound a little harsh, a little bright with 500K pots. There may be some people who like that, right? They want their strats to be a little harsh, a little extra bright. But the 500K pot will be a brighter pot than the 250. And as far as I'm concerned, humbucker equipped guitars really require the 500K pot. They're going to be a little bit too warm with the 250 in it. Gibson has experimented over the years with like 300, 350, 400. I think actually right now a lot of their guitars have 350s in them. I will say if you have a guitar that is, like the gigging Strat that I use that's humbucker single, that like 350 is a neat pot to have in there because it's a little bit of best worlds. So that's my whole concept. Good quality pots, 250 with single coils, 500 with humbuckers, and you can't go wrong. A decent quality cap that really is what it says it is. Oh, by the way, caps. I'm going to mention this real quick too because this is really near and dear to my heart, and I'm now including tone caps with all my pickup sets because it's that damn important. I don't want somebody putting my pickups in and then coming back going, man, it really doesn't sound that good, because I'm going, well, wow, man, it's your Epiphone, Les Paul with a stock, but 0.1 UF caps on single coil pickups are the magic spot. That's what Leo originally chose. All those Holy Grail Strats from the 50s and 60s and the Holy Grail Tellys all had the 0.1 UF cap. Now we're not going to talk about like the old broadcasters with the 0.1 UF cap in line on the neck pickup. But as far as the tone cap, man, the 0.1, just a decent quality 0.1 on single coil pickups absolutely makes a big difference. And on humbuckers, the .022 caps, which again are the original Les Paul standard, just a good quality cap, makes a big difference as well. Right now, most of the Les Pauls are coming out with the .022s. However, like Mexican Strats, and Squire Strats, almost all have in them a .022 or a .047 cap, which makes it bright, brittle, harsh, combined with those bright, brittle, harsh, ugly pickups. So if somebody's like replacing the pickups in their Mexican Strat, do the cap, do the pots, and then you've got a great sounding guitar.
Do you have a brand, like you mentioned that higher price brands have tighter tolerances? Is there a brand that you go to, not, it doesn't have to be the most expensive, but that you would tell people to look at in terms of buying if they're going to replace the tone cap in their guitar?
I've actually had great results on the humbuckers, on the .022s, great results with orange drops. I know people are back and forth on them, but the 719p orange drops, I like them. I also do like, I forget the name of it. There is a company that's making reproduction bumblebees right now that are very good. They're $50 a piece. That's an expensive cap.
Man.
Yeah, I know.
We need to start making capacitors.
They're very good. On the
Sure.
On the Strat sets, what I send out with all of mine are vintage Sprague ceramic caps.
Okay.
And they're available all over. With the ceramic caps, the only thing you got to watch is tolerance, because especially some of those old vintage caps, they'll be like plus 20, minus 80% tolerance.
Right. Yeah. So you never know what value you're getting.
But I got several boxes, several thousand boxes of these vintage Sprague, 10% tolerance ceramic caps. They're beautiful. Yeah. Cool. And they're available on eBay too, and they're only like $5 a piece.
Cool. Well, that's all we got for now.
Yeah. So when it comes to pots, the more the better.
From Summer NAMM?
Summer NAMM, yep, 2015. This is Max,
Anthony,
me, Brian,
and
Brian.
Vaughn.
See you guys.
Thanks.
keep chasing that tune. Keep chasing that tune.
What is